he doesn't really think a reconciliation will happen between father and son, let alone William. But he also thinks that William will banish Harry. I'm not quite sure how that will work. To be honest, as long as he's got the right to come to the UK, I don't think that the monarch can banish anybody. But Tom's, very well connected. He's written some very popular books about the royal family. So it's an interesting perspective. My perspective, I think, as we were discussing the other day, is that I'd never say never. I certainly think there's a decent chance that the King and Harry will reconcile, and William, I think and Kate, it's a lot tougher. But I think I was saying the other day again that somebody close to William said to me quite a while ago now, time's a great healer. I just wouldn't rule it out.
The vibe of this.
Greetings, dear friends. Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales, your go-to sanctuary for thoughtful storytelling, royal reflections, and, above all, the truth delivered with clarity, compassion, and context. Today we delve into a disturbing new chapter in the ongoing royal saga, one where the headlines buzzed with the shocking suggestion that Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is seriously worried about being banished from the United Kingdom by none other than his own brother, Prince William, once he ascends the throne. The claim, made by controversial royal author Tom Bower, ignited a media frenzy. But Harry didn't stay silent. In a striking response via his spokesperson, he reminded the world that speculation often comes loudest from those who know him the least. And that, dear listeners, is where our journey begins today. So settle in, pour your tea, and let's unravel what's truth, what's myth, and what this latest development says about the fractured but not irreparable House of Windsor. It all started with a quote, just one quote, but one potent enough to spark a tidal wave of public reaction. Tom Bower, a figure who has built a considerable reputation for being one of the Sussex's most vocal critics, gave an interview to the Mirror that set social media and tabloid news alight. In his words, and I quote, "Harry is seriously worried that when his father dies one day, William will literally banish him and he will have no status in Britain at all. He will be persona non grata." Persona non grata, a term used in diplomatic circles to denote someone who is no longer welcome, a form of social exile. That's the severity of what was being alleged, that Prince Harry, born a Windsor, raised in Kensington, shaped by decades of service to Queen and country, could one day find himself erased, exiled and rejected by the very institution of his birth. Now, it's rare for the Sussexes to respond to every outlandish story, but this time the claim must have struck a personal nerve. Perhaps it was the timing. Perhaps it was the sheer cruelty embedded in the suggestion. Harry's team responded swiftly and with elegance. A spokesperson for the Duke of Sussex told GB News, "It's funny how the people who know the least about him always have the most to say. Short, sharp, devastating." It wasn't just a rebuttal. It was a quiet clapback that shamed the gossip without fanning the flames. It spoke volumes without needing to shout. But beyond that succinct denial lies a deeper truth, one Harry himself has been echoing time and again in interviews, speeches and public statements. He does not seek vengeance, he seeks reconciliation. Speaking recently to the BBC, Prince Harry expressed something many of us wish for in our own lives when facing family turmoil. "I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point continuing to fight anymore. Life is precious." There's something heartbreakingly simple about that sentiment. No point continuing to fight. Life is precious. This isn't a man plotting revenge or expecting banishment. This is a son, a brother, a father, trying to close old wounds before they become permanent scars. Much of the ongoing estrangement between Harry and the institution can be traced back to one core issue: security. It's not just a logistical detail, it's a symbolic and practical one. Since stepping back as a senior royal, Harry has fought to maintain the security he believes is necessary for his family's safety, especially when visiting the UK. In his own words, "The dispute over my security has always been the sticking point." Let's pause there. Security isn't just about bodyguards. It's about being recognised as someone whose life is still at risk due to royal status. It's about being treated with the dignity and protection that his service, his birthright, and his sacrifices warrant. Prince Harry has made it clear he won't put Meghan or their children at risk, especially not in a country where they've been relentlessly hounded by the tabloid press and where the institution he once served now offers no official protection. This isn't obstinance, it's love, it's duty redefined. Perhaps the most poignant revelation from Harry's recent comments is this one. The king won't speak to me because of this security stuff. Read that again. It's not about petty fights or miscommunications. It's a father not speaking to his son over a fundamental issue of safety and recognition. And yet Harry didn't express anger. He expressed concern. I don't know how much longer my father has. There's no resentment in that sentence. There's sorrow. There's the raw vulnerability of a man who knows that time is slipping through his fingers and that opportunities to mend the fabric of family are not endless. So when asked about returning to the UK with Meghan and the children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet Harry's answer was painfully clear. I can't see a world in which I would bring my wife and children back to the UK at this point. There are people who will twist this into defiance. But anyone truly listening hears the voice of a husband and father putting family first. Because what parent would knowingly expose their children to a country that refuses to guarantee their safety, and a family that has to this point refused to offer a consistent welcome? He continues, there have been so many disagreements between myself and some of my family. But in the very next breath he adds, I've forgiven them. That is power. Now, while the headlines screamed of feuds and banishment, something far more hopeful was happening quietly behind the scenes. Earlier this month, representatives for Harry and Buckingham Palace were spotted meeting in London, an unprecedented step in years. Meredith Maines, Harry and Meghan's chief communications officer, and Liam Maguire, who heads their UK PR team, sat down with Tobin Andrea, the King's communications secretary, at the Royal Overseas League near Clarence House. There was no formal agenda, insiders say just things both sides wanted to talk about. And that matters. Because dialogue is the first step toward healing. Even if Prince William's camp wasn't present, the fact that the Sussexes and the King's team met in public is a turning point in this long, bitter saga. Kensington Palace, home to Prince William and Princess Kate, declined to comment on the meeting. Their silence is strategic, some say. Others argue it's emotional detachment, but here's what we know. William has become increasingly central to the firm's future. He's acting as a gatekeeper, a protector of the crown, and perhaps a reflection of how he views loyalty. Some insiders have speculated that William sees Harry's memoir Spare as a betrayal too far, that he feels blindsided by Harry's open criticisms of their childhood, the media machine, and yes, his own actions. But what does it say about a future king if he cannot even meet his own brother halfway? Harry, for all his supposed rebellion, has extended the olive branch time and again. What he hasn't done is compromise the safety of his family or the truth of his experience. Let's return to Tom Bower for a moment. Bower has long been criticised for crafting narratives that paint Meghan and Harry in the worst possible light, using anonymous sources, questionable timelines, and a tone that borders on personal disdain. He's not a royal insider, he's a royal antagonist. So, when Bower claims that Harry is seriously worried about being banished, we must ask, is he reporting or projecting? Is he reflecting Harry's private fears, or constructing a fiction designed to provoke headlines and sell books? Because let's be honest, it's easier to write villains into stories than it is to admit that maybe, just maybe, the institution itself is flawed, and the Sussexes were the ones brave enough to walk away. At the end of the day, Harry's legacy will not be determined by tabloid headlines or bitter brothers. It will be defined by how he handled the storm. And if we look closely, we see a man who served in Afghanistan for 10 years, who built the Invictus Games, who stood by his wife when the world tried to tear her down, who walked behind his mother's coffin as a boy, and now walks beside his daughter as a man. That's not someone you banish, that's someone you fight to understand. So there you have it, dear listeners. The truth behind the headlines, the humanity behind the royals. Prince Harry is not hiding in fear of banishment. He's navigating a world that refused to protect his wife, misunderstood his motives, and now questions his place. But even through the noise, Harry remains steady. He forgives, he hopes. He meets behind closed doors in search of peace. And maybe, just maybe, one day those doors will open wide enough to let healing in. Thank you for joining me today on Meghan and Harry Tales. If you found this story moving or eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in truth over tabloid. Until next time, I'm Adrian. And remember, no matter how loud the headlines, the truth always whispers more wisely.